What if I told you that the game of basketball started with a peach basket and no dribbling? Sounds strange, right? Yet it's true. The game was conceived in the fertile mind of Dr. James Naismith, a Canadian physical education instructor back in 1891. In a bid to create a game that would keep his students active during the winter while indoors, Naismith penned down the basic rules of a new game. A game that saw a soccer ball being lobbed into a peach basket, which back then served as the goal. Oh, and dribbling? It wasn't part of the original game. Players were required to pass the ball without the fancy footwork we see today. Imagine that, a game of basketball where you couldn't run with the ball. So the game we adore today had quite a peculiar start, didn't it? Fast forward to the early 1900s, basketball began to take a more recognizable form. At this time, the game that was once a simple gym class activity was spreading like wildfire across colleges in the United States. It was a new century, and basketball was becoming the sport of the future. Universities were setting up their own teams, organizing tournaments, and fostering a competitive spirit that was previously unseen. The Ivy League, renowned for its academic prowess, was also home to some of the earliest college basketball teams. The fervor for the sport was infectious, and soon it wasn't just confined to the college campuses. In the early part of the 20th century, the first professional basketball leagues began to emerge. Teams like the original Celtics and the Buffalo Germans became household names. These leagues were the precursors to the modern-day NBA, setting the stage for professional basketball as we know it today. Around this time, the rules of the game also started to evolve. Dr. James Naismith, the game's inventor, initially conceived basketball without any dribbling. However, as the game spread and developed, dribbling was introduced. This new rule allowed players to move the ball more freely, adding an extra layer of strategy and skill to the game. And let's not forget about the women. In 1896, Stanford and Berkeley faced off in what is considered the first women's basketball game. Although women's basketball took a bit longer to gain the same level of recognition as the men's game, this marked an important milestone in the sport's history. By the end of this era, basketball had become more than just a pastime. It was a spectacle, a source of national pride, and a beacon of American culture. The rules were refined, the players were professionals, and the fans were legion. By the Roaring '20s, basketball was no longer just a game. It had become a phenomenon. The 1940s brought a new era to basketball with the birth of the National Basketball Association. As the curtains of World War II were drawn, the world of sports was poised for a dramatic transformation. The late 40s saw the Basketball Association of America, or BAA, and the National Basketball League, known as the NBL, competing for the spotlight, but the competition was fierce, and both leagues realized that a merger would be beneficial for the game's growth and survival. In 1949, a significant event in basketball history took place. The BAA and the NBL decided to join forces, leading to the birth of the National Basketball Association. This union brought together the best teams and players from both leagues, creating a platform that would come to define professional basketball. In the early days of the NBA, stars began to rise, capturing the attention of fans across the nation. One of the most notable was George Mikan, a 6'10" center with a knack for scoring. Playing for the Minneapolis Lakers, Mikan was a force to be reckoned with on the court. His dominance under the basket, coupled with an impressive scoring ability, drew fans to the game and set the stage for the big men who would follow in his footsteps. But the impact of these early stars was more than just their on-court performances. They were ambassadors for the sport, helping to increase its popularity and visibility. They played with a passion and intensity that captivated audiences, making the sport more than just a game, turning it into a spectacle. The merger of the BAA and NBL to form the NBA was more than just a business decision. It was a pivotal moment in the history of basketball, one that would shape the future of the sport. The NBA was now the premier stage for basketball, attracting the best players from across the country. The stage was set and the lights were shining bright as the NBA was ready to take the world by storm. The 1980s and 90s saw basketball become a truly global sport. It was during this period that the world started to witness the magic of basketball, thanks to the mesmerizing performances of players like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird and Michael Jordan. Magic Johnson, with his infectious smile and slick passes, captivated audiences far beyond the borders of the United States. His rivalry with Larry Bird, a player known for his hustle and clutch shooting, transcended the court and became a global phenomenon. Their contrasting styles and backgrounds created a compelling narrative that drew in fans from all walks of life, from all corners of the globe. Meanwhile, Michael Jordan was busy cementing his legacy as perhaps the greatest player of all time. His gravity-defying dunks, clutch performances, and competitive fire were broadcasted around the world, making him an international icon. His global appeal was such that he transcended basketball, becoming a symbol of excellence and determination. But the globalization of basketball was not just about individuals. It was about teams, specifically the Dream Team. The 1992 U.S. Olympic basketball team, dubbed the Dream Team, was a spectacle like no other. Comprising NBA superstars, this team dominated the Olympics, capturing the imagination of millions of international fans. The Dream Team's impact was so profound that it inspired a generation of international players to take up the sport. The NBA, recognizing the global appeal of the sport, made concerted efforts to spread its popularity. From hosting games in different countries to broadcasting games in multiple languages, the NBA made basketball accessible to a global audience. This period also saw a significant increase in international players in the NBA. Players like Manu Ginobili from Argentina, Dirk Nowitzki from Germany, and Yao Ming from China showcased their skills on the biggest stage, further solidifying the global status of basketball. Basketball was no longer just America's game, it was the world's game. It was a universal language that connected people regardless of their origin, language, or culture. It was, and continues to be, a testament to the power of sports in bridging gaps and fostering global unity. But the turn of the century brought a new era for basketball, an era marked by the rise of legendary players who've not only redefined the game, but also left an indelible mark on basketball's history. Consider Kobe Bryant, for instance. Known as the Black Mamba, his relentless pursuit of excellence, his unyielding will to win, and his unmatched scoring prowess made him one of the most iconic figures of the modern era. His legacy, however, transcends his on-court achievements. Kobe's impact off the court, his commitment to mentorship, and his dedication to inspiring the next generation of players have been as significant as his 5 NBA championships. Then there's LeBron James. A prodigy since high school, LeBron's unique blend of size, athleticism, and basketball IQ, coupled with his leadership and philanthropy, have made him one of the most influential players of all time. His ability to adapt and evolve his game, his longevity, and his pursuit of greatness have set new standards for the game. And let's not forget Stephen Curry. This unassuming guard from Davidson College revolutionized basketball with his extraordinary shooting range. His quick release, his accuracy from beyond the arc, and his uncanny ability to make three-pointers look as easy as layups have transformed the way basketball is played today. But the modern era is not just about these iconic players, it's also about the rise and recognition of women's basketball. The establishment of the Women's National Basketball Association, or WNBA, in 1996 marked a significant milestone in the history of the sport. The increased popularity of women's basketball, the recognition of its players, and the growing fan base are testament to the enduring appeal of the game. Basketball today is a far cry from its humble beginnings, but the essence of the game remains the same. The love for the game, the passion, the teamwork, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. These are the elements that make basketball, in every era, a game to remember. So how has basketball evolved from a game with a peach basket and no dribbling to the fast-paced, high-flying spectacle we see today? Basketball's evolution is a tale of innovation, resilience, and unbridled passion. From its humble beginnings in the late 19th century with Dr. James Naismith's peach basket, the game quickly caught on, spreading like wildfire across the United States in the early 20th century. The birth of the NBA in the late 40s was a game changer, bringing professionalism and structure to the sport. By the time the 60s rolled around, basketball had gone global, capturing the hearts and minds of millions around the world. The modern era has seen basketball evolve into a high-octane sport, with players pushing the boundaries of human capability and technology enhancing the fan experience. The game's rules, techniques, and equipment have all seen dramatic changes. Basketball has come a long way since Dr. Naismith's Peach Basket, but one thing's for sure, the love for the game has only grown stronger.